So now that you're here, okay. So what are we doing?
I'm going to wait for the questions to start.
Yes. Challenge. We've had many challenges, right?
Just a few every day.
Every day. I think of all the tough times we've had, most of the tough times have been more at work, right? Challenges of work, the learning, the new things that we are doing and how things moving.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting that each of those points that I came to you to resolve a confusion in my mind, you came out very clearly. You came out like in a few seconds, it's more or less split seconds, you would have a solution. I always wondered how you can come to such a quick solution, and I would take days to think about it and consult mom.
Not only because it's super easy, it's not that complicated.
I don't know why some things are not complicated for you, but I find it complicated.
Maybe you just overanalyze, overthink.
Overanalyze,
which
right?
I don't do that at all.
Possible, you're right. I try and see the pros and cons, what would happen, what would not happen, etc. And whereas you seem to be more clear thinking, and you're like, yeah, I wish I was like you.
Nice. That's amazing to hear.
You know, sometimes when you think back over the last 35 years or so, you know, there's so many memories that I have about us traveling together, having our Saturday lunches together.
Every Saturday at one point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would go to different restaurants at different times.
True, very true.
And what would we discuss? A million things, except not business.
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah. But I know one time I always had a feeling that's more to do with the PTC meetings in your
school.
In the school.
Oh my God.
Right? So I would, for some reason, I never missed even one PTC meeting of yours from primary school to high school.
I wish you did sometimes. Would be great.
It was very nice to know how you did at school. So it was very interesting.
Nice.
You know, while I was going for all of your meetings at school, I realized, or I kind of was informed, that a very good friend of yours, who's a good friend in those days, and I think he's still a very good friend
100%,
of yours today.
Yeah.
And that's Hriday.
Yeah.
And Hriday wrote some answers for you in the tests or exams.
Every single test.
And you never did it?
He would do half the questions and hand back the test to me.
God,
that's why I passed. I think I passed school otherwise. There's no way I would pass otherwise.
You know, if I had known this earlier, I would have been furious. But you had the gumption to get away with it.
Yeah.
You had a little stuttering problem, as well as you had a little. You were dyslexic, but you know,
still am.
You still are dyslexic, and so what's interesting is, as we got to know you through the school more than I knew as a dad, I knew from your PTC teachers how you were coping at school, and then how you graduated from school, and then you went to college, you went to
undergrad,
and before undergrad, how you went to a school to help you, manage. It's very interesting to see how you've coped up with it. It's not easy. If I were having the trouble that you have, I would find it, I would be very disillusioned. I would be very, disappointed with myself. How well you've coped with it, and the kind of positive energy you have all the time. I mean, I think it's very, very inspirational. I remember the time when Mr. Jayarajan called you back to school one day to speak to other children after you graduated, and where you went back to, and it's interesting to know that the Learning Lab was established thanks to you.
Next to our class, actually.
Your class.
Yeah.
So before that, schools were not so well equipped.
Never
But
was.
you kind of prompted that. I think you are kind of opening doors to a lot of things.
Let's hope so.
I hope
Let's
you
hope so.
continue doing that. I mean,
I would love to know this.
honestly, the proudest moment for me, a couple of proudest moments. One, when you said that when you got an opportunity to work in
California.
Arizona,
Arizona, yeah.
where somebody said that they would like to adopt you,
More or less, yeah.
and they said, when they called me and said, Vinod, leave Chaitanya with me, I'm going to hand over my business to Chaitanya. I cannot believe how some other gentleman halfway across the globe would want you to be inheriting his business.
Yeah.
Although I also gave you that option. I said, if you wish to be there, go ahead. Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
But when you said, Dad, I'm coming back to take care of Krishniah Chetty, that is one of my most proudest moments. One. The second proudest moment, when I came for your graduation,
Ages.
that was touching. At one time, your school said you would not graduate. And they said you wouldn't graduate from school, but you went and graduated from college.
6 months early.
And 6 months early. But one thing I don't like about it, I paid for that 6 months, you didn't give me that money back.
Why would I do that? You were spent anyway, so I might as well use it.
Yeah, but you went and partied with that money.
And get cars too. So growing up in this family obviously had its benefits, but also had a lot of,
Burden?
not burden, I won't say burden, I would say a lot of things I have to live up to. I think the shoes were so big, and every time, I think from my grandfather to you, I think the shoes just kept getting larger and larger and larger. And me being the 6th generation now, I don't know how I'm going to fill that shoe. And so I think that living in this family has also taught me that there's no point in doing things always that have never been done, right? In terms of certain aspects, because there's such a good foundation that's there. It's always good to build on that foundation, which I think I'm very privileged to have, and I think that can't be taken for granted. So being in the CKC family, I think has been really great, and being around happy people technically, because our business is all about happiness, right? No one comes in unhappy to buy any diamonds or jewelry. It's always a birthday, an anniversary, a wedding, or some important occasion in all their lives. So I think it's being around happiness has also been a huge impact.
See, that's one more thing that I like about you. You have, from the days that you were about to be adopted by somebody in America, to inherit their wonderful business, to coming back to India to work with Krishniah Chetty. And your thought process, I can see it going from the younger days of yours to today, that you like this continuity and preservation and progress of the business that you are in. Plus, what I like about you is that you are also an investor into startups which are completely unique and different, like some of the startups that you did, from food and beverage to now I think you're into an aerospace investment.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you are able to handle these, which as in my days, I couldn't do it. And I see you doing it. I mean, I'm very, very happy.
Thank you. Feels good to hear that. So I think one thing that you mentioned, I don't know what the context was or what the conversation was. But you said one thing where once you reach the end of life, what are you going to be remembered for? I think that's one of the questions you asked me, and I had no answer initially because I think maybe I was too young then, or I had never thought about it. And you actually inspired that part in me, and everything I'm doing today is to somehow have an impact in any sphere I can. So tomorrow, after my lifetime, I would love to be remembered for that. And if you ask me what it is, I would like to be somebody who's remembered for helping, doing things for others. It's not only about business, about money. It's really a lot more than that. And I think you and the family have really inspired that in me. And that was one thing that really stuck to me. And every day, everything I do today that's of importance, that question is always asked in my head. And if it makes that impact after my entire lifetime, then it would make sense to go ahead and end up doing it.
In these times, when generational differences are quite pronounced, to keep that, let that difference be. There's nothing wrong with that difference. You are very different from me, I am very different from you. But still, with all that mental and physical and emotional differences that we all have, we are kind of knitted together. So when I see you being able to communicate so much, being so with me and with mom and with the family, and at work as well, to me to see that really is what is most rewarding for me. Now that's between me and you, right? But you also have 2 children, 2 boys.
Yeah.
What's your most rewarding, thing about you and your children?
So for me, I think being a dad honestly comes down to really seeing them grow really fast. I mean, they're fairly young right now. I think the past 5 years or 10 years of both of them being there has just flown by. And I've seen them evolve into really nice human beings. And seeing them grow has been very rewarding. And one example is with my older son, Vyan, where he is the most caring kid I've ever seen, right? You think I'm caring? He's like 10 times more than me. He's very intuitive. He's very quick in understanding when someone needs something. And it's really nice to see that. And when any of our friends or teachers of his school say that, hey, if he's there, it's fine. Everything will be okay. And that to me was really amazing to actually see.
Vyan and Tariq are such loving children.
Yeah.
And I connect with them so much. And every time they come home, I think it's like the home comes alive.
Yeah, it does.
They're so fabulous.
Yeah.
And I can see that you have passed on that trait to the children.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you're doing that. So good speaking up, catching up on our morning talks.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
I think it's Father's Day today.
Are you sure?
It is.
Happy Father's Day, Papa.
Good.